So here we go. So welcome everyone. My name is Bronwyn. I work at InsideOut. We're a mental health platform giving people access to virtual therapy and coaching sessions, as well as additional mental wellbeing support. We also love to run this wellbeing series webinar in which we dive into different topics related to mental health and wellbeing. And today we're going to be talking about the body and mind connection. So it's fairly science-based today, but Carole is going to do her best to make it as accessible, comprehensible and interactive as possible. But it might be that you will have more questions when you leave the session, but we will look to potentially do a part 2 down the line to hopefully answer those. So Carole, she's got years of experience as a coach, but she has a specific interest in the body since she qualified as a body-oriented coach. And today she's hoping to give everyone more understanding of the body-mind connection. Oh, sorry. People just put yourselves on mute, please. And how to turn that understanding of the body-mind connection to your advantage. Carole's going to give some, or run us through some somatic experiences today. So maybe moving a bit, trying something out. Feel free to join or not. If you'd rather do them with your webcam off, by all means, whatever's going to make you feel comfortable. But the more that you try these in today's session, the more I think you'll take away from what we're discussing. But it'd be great to see as many of you as possible trying them out. So without further ado, I'm going to let Carole introduce herself in a bit more detail and then kick off this session on the body and mind connection.
Hi everyone. Just to say, we're going to share with you a PDF at the end where there's lots of links of videos to watch, potential films to watch, because obviously in 1 hour we can't cover everything. And my idea today is to make you curious about what it is about and do your own research, because the more you're self-aware about what's out there, then you have the tools needed. So today is just a little intro to make you sense things maybe differently today. So as Bronwyn said, I have an interest in the body because I've been a coach for, I can't remember now, 7-8 years. And I qualified as a body-oriented coach because I really realized that sometimes we're stuck in our head and the body actually has a lot of wisdom, and maybe we don't tap into that. So I'm going to share with you a few experiences and a few tips around how we can use our body. And these experiences are aiming really to get you to connect with your body a bit more and get some I don't know how to say, like grounding, some presence, and like stop the head spinning all the time. So hopefully we will manage that and give you a bit of a glimpse of that. Before we start, I'd like you to set your intention. What would you like to gain from this session today? So see if you can lower your gaze, close your eyes, and really tap into your body straight away. And try to really ask yourself, not just the mind, but the body, what do I want today? What do I want this experience to be like? And what would make this experience really valuable for me today? And sit with this thought and see what comes up for you. So if anyone would like to share or just type it in the chat, feel free. And I can see some people are really embracing this exercise. And what came up for you as you tap into your present experience right now? If anyone would like to share.
Hi, Carole. What came up for me was communication and acknowledgement.
Communication within yourself?
Yeah, probably body-mind connection and acknowledging the body.
Okay, so you've realized there was a bit missing there for you.
Must be, yeah.
Okay, that's okay. So just to let you know, there's nothing wrong or right today. Is really trying to see what's out there for you and not feel like, oh, I'm not feeling anything. What's up with me? What's wrong with me? No, it's okay, because there's something new maybe that we're going to do today, and it's okay to not feel anything. Feeling nothing is feeling something. I don't know if that makes sense, but okay. So thank you, Julie, for sharing. Already, I have some sharing. As you can see, that anxiety, we think it's in the mind, but then you can feel your body doing something, expressing something. So this anxiety actually could be expressed in your body. Right now, as I'm speaking, I have goosebumps all over my body, and I'm like, why? What's going on? So I'm curious. I'm open to that. What's the goosebumps? Is it excitement? Is it me being nervous? There's a bodily sensation reaction. And basically, that's okay. Actually, it's good. Yeah. Okay. So, so it's about learning. It's about understanding and being curious. Okay. So shall we start? Thank you for setting your attention and see if we can make the most. I would say, listen to your body, have some water next to you. That's really key. So if you feel thirsty, and feel free to disappear and go to the toilet. Listen to your body. This is a good way of you to see how much you're listening to your body's needs, right, today. Lucia just sneezed. That's good. Do not hold the sneeze, right? We're all like holding the burps and all this. No, let your body express itself. Okay, this is magical. True. Okay. So we've set the intention. What are we doing now, Bronwyn? Just remind me.
So I think we were going to kick off with doing some what you call an orienting exercise or experience.
So we're going to do something that all creatures do, and we're a creature as well, right? So the idea is like we're going to start using our body, all our senses today. So what I like inviting you to do is called orienting, and we're going to scan the room around us. So as we're doing that, start looking around in your room. Do not force, just see where your eyes lands. Okay, so look to the left of your shoulder, look back, see how it feels, stay there, look around, and come back to center, look at me, and go to the right and look behind you, and see how it feels, if there's something coming up. So, and now, as you come back to center, you go back to the room and look for something that brings you joy and inspiration and makes you feel, wow, good. And stay with that object or that sensation, that feeling. It could be a picture, it could be a color. Just looking around and let your gaze just fall onto this and stay with it. So if you want to go back now and maybe see if there's any difference right now for you or not. Do you feel the same? Has something changed in you? If you'd like to share, again, feel free to. If there was some resistance in this exercise, that's okay too, because it's something we don't do very often, to look around. So this exercise, orienting, we've done it consciously, but as creatures, we do it all the time. We're always scanning because we have been trained to be on alert all the time and scan for danger, right? And what you've just done now is actually, we do it all the time, but actually you've done it with an intention. And as you're looking around, hopefully you can see there's no danger and you feel safe, right? You're in your own room, you're in a nice atmosphere, and you find an object that brings you joy. So these things are on tap all the time. So when you feel overwhelmed in your head, too much going on, do this very, very simple exercise to look around in your room. And if you have a very good object you found today, remember, this is your go-to object. It could be looking out of the window. I mean, Caroline's got a very nice background. I don't know if it's virtual or not, but that brings me so much warmth to look at it. This orange color, the leaves. I can start interpreting the feel, the wind. So you have all that you can use as your senses. So when you feel this is too much going on there, you can access that. So orienting is something, it's a cue that you're safe. And if you're like me, 100% of your time on a screen, fixing that screen on a phone, just remember that's accessible for you all the time. Okay, so that was the first somatic experiences. I'm on my very messy back deck. I don't know what that means. Henriette? Okay, so mess clutter can bring you not joy. So that's something to remember. Is to maybe you want to change your space. So you're in charge. You can change your environment. Wow, there's lots going on there.
Carole, can I dive into my first question?
Yes.
Okay, so it might shock you, but it's what is the mind-body connection? And maybe we want to give the audience a chance to put in the chat or voice what they think it is, or their current understanding of it, before we dive in. So feel free to contribute any ideas you might have, what the mind-body connection is.
Anybody would like to share what they think this is, body, mind, or connection?
And obviously you're here today to probably understand what that is, but you might have some ideas. Yeah, Carole, what is the mind?
Oh, I love that, Catherine. Yeah, experiencing your emotions in your body. Yeah, that's really good. That's spot on. Okay.
Influence our body. Mm-hmm.
So as you're sharing, we can say that there is an ongoing, I love that, balance and harmony. There's always this connection. There's always, as Caroline shared, a communication going on. What's happening is often we're not paying attention to that. So it's like a loophole. Loophole, is that what you say? Like a loop? So there's an influence between the two. So let's say, and it's like the chemistry, everything is connected. And for the sake of this webinar, when you say mind, we're really talking about the brain. So as the brain communicating with your body and vice versa. So you've heard about your gut, your heart, and your brain. You've got these three, and everything's connected through your nervous system. So I'm not going to go too much in detail with that, but we all are energy, neurons, and everything is fired up inside us, and we are chemistry. Yes, the vagus nerve. Wow, we've got some people who know about this stuff there. Okay. Mm-hmm. So yeah, the vagus nerve is the bit which stems from your brain stem, and you've got all these parts. Some part of the vagus nerve goes to your organs, other parts go to your throat. So yeah, the vagus, thank you, Pamela, for sharing. The vagus nerve is key here. So think about a second how the body influences the brain and the brain influences the body. It goes both ways, okay? So I'm just going to read out a definition here from James Gordon. He says the brain and peripheral nervous system, the endocrine and immune systems, and indeed all the organs of our body and all the emotional response we have share a common chemical language and are constantly communicating with one another. So I don't know if you're like me, I'm 55. I'm discovering all these things because we don't have education about that. Yes, I've learned about the nervous system at school, but all this is not really communicated to us. And more time than none, we're being told to ignore our body responses. We're being told if there's a scratch on our knee, or forget about it, it's nothing, or if you start tearing up, do not have these tears. So we're ignoring all these signals. So today is paying attention to this communication, as Caroline said, yeah, okay, and it's impossible to disconnect the two. They're really intertwined. So your body and mind are just one thing. And they speak to each other and they work in harmony. Sometimes they don't, because we're like not paying attention. So just think for a second how we're influenced by our hormones. So if you're a woman who has period or menopause like me, we're so different when we have this fluctuation of chemical in our body. So paying attention to this change in our hormones will affect how our moods are. It seems like no rocket science, but again, nobody tells us about mood swings and things like that at school. I mean, I discovered these things through my partner at the time. He said, oh, you're going to have your period, you're changing your mood. I was like, oh, yeah, you're right. I had no idea. So paying attention to that. Again, if you feel tired or hungry, especially for people who are hypersensitive, they can't function. They become really grumpy. Yeah. So today is a way as well, not just for you, but to look around and your co-workers and sensing, oh, he's not acting like before. Maybe he needs a break. Maybe he needs to walk out and have a little walk or do something different. So we can, that's the beauty of it. We can impact our responses. We can have an impact of how our mind feels and our body feels. And for me, if you can get out of this session thinking, yeah, I'm empowered, I can change things. It might feel really mission impossible, that we're not in control, this is happening to us, but actually we can change things. So I hope this answers a bit of the body-mind question.
Yeah.
I want to mention that maybe.
And Carole, you mentioned throughout that question or answer both the mind and the brain, but what's the difference between those two things?
Okay, so the brain is actually in the body. That's why it's very confusing when we say so the brain is actually one of the organs of your body, right? Okay, the mind is your meaning making machine, is how you see things, how you interpret things. Yeah, is you're the observer, it's your consciousness, right? Mm-hmm. So it's your ability as a human to be able to actually observe all this is happening. So just for today, we just said, okay, that the brain and mind, we look at it as one thing. Otherwise, it gets really confusing. And to tell you the truth, there's so much confusion within the science field about what is the mind, what is self. All this is a creation. And some people, some scientists, the mind doesn't exist. It's just the brain doing all these connections and things. And this is what it is. I feel it's more empowering to think that it's not just that, and we can have an impact on our body-mind connection, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. And how, Carole, would you say that poor mental health can affect our bodies?
Okay, so as soon as we're not feeling right in our head, there will have an automatic consequence on our body. If you've suffered from anxiety, depression, the first thing we do is our body shuts down. So we stop even showering, looking after ourselves. We don't feel like eating, so nutrition goes out of the way. We don't want to exercise. So straight away, you will see the effect on the poor mental health into your body. And again, our role is to notice these changes and not stay in that circle and think, okay, I'm not feeling like it, but actually I'm going to, maybe if I not get up, actually I'm going to stretch in my bed. Maybe I'm going to do some light movement and use my body a bit more, because as soon as your body's energized, again, the communication goes back and you will feel better. So there's a two-way thing. So, and as the same thing goes with poor physical health. I don't know if you're like me, I've suffered from really bad chronic pain in my back. And that can have an effect on your mental health because you can't function properly. You can't do the exercise you want to do. You're restricted. So it's a constant, I would say, battle. Is like not let that get over you. So this awareness is going to be key for you to realize, okay, what can I do about this pain? How can I influence that so that my mental health stays okay despite the pain?
Mm-hmm. And then to sort of flip that question,
yeah.
What can be the physical impact of emotions that we feel? How might emotions show up in the body or affect our body?
Yeah, so there's lots of research showing that the emotional, like the anxiety, depression will increase your insulin level and resistance, and this can lead to diabetes. So we always think diabetes is a physical illness, but that comes also from the mental illness. There's more and more diabetes in our society, and then that can lead to increased chronic illnesses as well, and insulin dysregulation. So our emotional condition will be mirrored with the immune response. So it will have a knock-on effect quickly onto our bodies, because as we said, we're a chemistry, we're chemicals. So the cells, everything will be changing, okay? So the other thing I want to say is, like, we need to stop seeing physical health, mental health as two different things. As we said, they're all connected. And you'll be not surprised, you've been to your doctors, your GP with a pain or something, they will not join the dots. So because they're not trained for that, and they will not ask you, what are your stresses in life? What's going on in your life? So it's your responsibility, actually, I'm going to use a very nasty word, like, to not stay in the victim mode. This is happening to me. It's actually okay. Doctors are not going to help me. I've been there. I've been many, many times to doctors. They couldn't help me. I had to do a reality check. Okay, what's happening with my body? What's happening with my mind? How can I change things? When we speak about chronic pain as well, it's often, the brain is actually doing that to us. We're creating this neural pathways of, the more we look into this pain and we pay attention to the pain, the more it's there. So it's quite fascinating, because for me, pain is a signal from the body, but actually it's the brain making a note, it's like an alert system. So the brain detects something. Let's say you've got an injury, it detects something, and then it will keep reminding yourself. And with your thoughts, you keep going there, going there, going there. And it's the same with your mind. If you're anxious, the more you stay with these negative thoughts, the more they're going to come at you, because you are, it's a bit scary, isn't it? You are creating this neural pathways, like these big motorways of thoughts. And for me, it was a really eye-opener that the pain was just not in my body. It was created by my brain. It's a bit, it's quite interesting. I don't know if people can relate to that. Yeah, okay, so Rebecca's sharing that she's watched documentaries where people can train their minds. Yeah. And that's some documentaries that I've put on the PDF as well, because watching these documentaries have been a blessing for me. Doctors these days won't even look for it. Yeah. So you go to a GP, what do? They give you a quick fix, take some painkillers, do this, do that. It's just putting a plaster on the wound. We're not actually looking what is the root cause of the problem. So more often than not, if you start paying attention, you will know what the root causes are. Yeah. So the recommendation on what to watch are in the PDF and the books as well. So it will be there. And I've put also the link to all the renowned experts in the field. I'm just passing on some of this knowledge. For me, understanding our nervous system was key, because when it's dysregulated, you could be always on alert without even noticing. Like if I drop my pen and make a noise, my mum would jump. It's like, why is she jumping? It means she's on alert. And being on alert all the time is not good for you, because you're producing this cortisol stress hormone all the time. And in the long run, if you're always stressed and always on alert, you're going to get chronic pain and chronic illnesses, autoimmune diseases, and it's quite scary. It's actually, we realize like we're self-inflicted. Sometimes it's your environment, but more often than not, it's how you respond to stresses. So what can you do about this? Okay. If I were you, I will, it depends if you're visual or there's lots of tech talks. If you like reading, making notes, this awareness is key for you to understand what is happening between your body and mind. I don't know if I'm answering the question there.
Yeah. And what about this idea that we can tune into our bodies or check in with our bodies? Would you be able to sort of explain what that is? And then I thought we could ask the audience how often they think that they do just that, how often they think they tune into their body, and we can put the response.
Shall we do the poll first then?
So I did want to do a poll, but it's not, my Zoom is just not giving me the option. So I thought we could share in the chat how often people do that. But maybe explain first what that means to tune into your body.
Okay, so how often do you tune into your bodies would mean actually pausing right now and checking, how's your body feeling? Is it hot, cold? Is there any tension in your body? So if you take a second, just sit back in your chair and see if so put your feet on the ground, get the support of your chair or sit back a bit. And what we can do actually, let's do this now, Bronwyn, we'll do a body scan, okay? But you'll have the full experience. So as you sit back in your chair, relax, and remember there's nothing right or wrong, it's just what happens, okay? If you can't feel anything, you don't feel anything, that's okay too. Okay, so we're going to start by feeling the sense of gravity, how your feet are touching the ground, the floor, and how it feels supported or not. Is there any tingling in your feet? Are they comfortable? Are they squeezed in your socks or in your shoes? So what we want is to really pay attention to the sensation, to your toes, to the sole of your feet, the ankle, the top of your foot. Go from the left to the right. And then gradually you go into your calves, the calf muscles. Are they tense at all or are they relaxed? And then you go to the front and then to your knees, to the back of your thighs, the front of your thighs. Go to your bum cheeks. Okay, are you feeling solid bum cheeks there? Are they really sitting nicely in the chair? Do you find any pain in your hips, in your joints? As you're gradually going up the body, you go through your back and bit by bit in your vertebra, pay attention to each vertebra. You go to your shoulder blades. And now, most often we have tension in our shoulders. Are your shoulders relaxed, higher up? Is one higher than the other? Then we go to the hands. Are they closed up, like in a fist? Are they quite loose? Do you feel any sweat in your palm? Are your hands cold, warm? Are your hands touching anything? What's the sensation as you're touching an object or your chair? And gradually go up your arms, your lower arm, your elbow, your upper arms. And then we're back to the front. So we go into our necks, into our throat. You can start moving that a little bit. See, is there any clunkiness, any tension again? Does it feel better putting your head forward, backward, sideways? Just play around, see how it feels. And then we go in our heads. And we go to the front of our head, our forehead. our eyebrows. And again, often we're like frowning without realizing it. Are you frowning right now? Or is it quite light and smooth on your skin? Go to your nose. And your mouth. Is it dry? Have you got saliva in there? Are your jaw tense or loose? We held a lot of stress in our jaws. Were you clenching your jaws, or is it just quite loose right now? And as you breathe in and out, try to pay attention to your nostrils. Is the air coming from the left nostril, from the right nostril, or from both? And as you inhale some air, do you feel the air passing through into your chest? How are you breathing? Are you breathing through a diaphragm, through your belly? How's your breath? Again, there's no right or wrong how we're breathing. It's all different. Some people have got quite short breathing, some people have got long breathing. But as we're doing it, how does it feel if we expand our diaphragm a lot and take our time to breathe out through our mouth? And you can decide to make even some noise with your mouth. And then some people, if you do yoga, we have some which feel a bit how does it feel when the voice comes into play? And now we're going to go into our organs, the chest area, the heart area, and your belly. And I invite you to stay there within all the mind, looking around, scanning, and see how it feels right now. And as we stop this practice, take your time to come back in the room, do a bit of scanning, wiggle your toes, your fingers. And I would love to hear how it feels. And Caroline is listening to her body. She's stretching. Yes. Oh, you're listening to your body. That's brilliant. Yeah, your body's telling you something and you're doing it. This is key. You're not ignoring your body signal. So if anyone would like to share what came out for them, if anything, if nothing, that's okay. Amy?
Hi. I work creatively and sort of visually, and so sometimes for me, I imagine it in color. So, for example, as you went through, because sometimes the body parts can be triggering, and I work creatively with some, vulnerable adults and myself. So when you mentioned the toes, one of my toes was red, and I felt, and what I do is like, is there a color coming out of it, for example? And then my shoulders, I felt was black, but black was coming out like this. And so I imagine it in color, and I actually once a month or more so, I draw a body and I go through that body scan exactly as you did, but I imagine the color and then I actually draw it and I make a note and I try to recognize, what color is in my throat, what color is that vertebrae, and that I feel it is very helpful. And I find that actually it can be quite helpful for people who are more visual, or just it's a different way.
And what do you find useful about this? Can you pinpoint what that does for you?
I think it takes away the body parts, I suppose, that may be triggering, as well as I'm visual and I can see in the colour where my blockages are, if that makes sense. So when you said, how are you in the shoulders? I know it hurts, but to see a shape and a colour speaking out was more powerful than a word. It was non-verbal, and that was easier.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you, Amy, for sharing that. Yeah, a lot of our emotions actually can be expressed through a temperature. Some people will feel a warmth, a heat, or a coldness, or you can actually see visualizing objects as well, like, oh, I've got chains. You know, you can, so use your, yeah, everything that works for you, and the color. And actually, I don't know if you know, but like some researchers have done seeing where the emotions are held in our body and what color comes up, and the heat and the like anger, like in our stomach and things like that. So all this is giving you a lot of information, and just the fact that you're acknowledging and you're paying attention, is you're half the way there, and then you're going.
I trained a little bit in that, so I
So
found
we
it
can, that's brilliant, because we can all train ourselves to do that. We can all, we've disconnected from our body because we're not using our body as we used to, but actually the wisdom is there. And a lot of people are scared with their body sensations, but actually if you go into that body sensation and just be curious, this is, okay, what are you trying to tell me there? I mean, I give you an example. I got a text from a partner asking me for a change of our contract, and oh, my body just reacted so much. It just went from my belly. I can feel the heat, the surge, and I was like, wow, this is, I use the word triggering. This text triggered something in me. So what I had to do, my belly tells me I'm hungry. Yeah, go ahead and get some food, Andrea. Yeah. So basically, when that happens, instead of being, oh my God, what's going on? A panic. No, actually pause. Okay, what is my body trying to tell me? What's the reaction? And instead of just replying to the text and going, I took my time to sit still and acknowledge this reaction, because emotions are unconscious and they're autonomous reactions, but they're signaling something. Bronwyn?
Yeah, and like Amy has done, sort of taught her methods to try and connect her mind and body a bit more and be in touch. How can you suggest to us, to everyone on the call today, how to strengthen our mind and body connection? What advice can you share?
Okay, so first of all, the very important, it seems like so obvious, but pay attention to your body signals: hunger, sleep, when you need to go to the toilet, because you're training your mind to remember to pay attention to that. How many of us will end up spending the day without feeding ourselves because we're so much like work, doing these things, and we just completely ignore the body? So the first thing is to remember to drink. It's so silly, if it's like, I'm thirsty, I drink. So I will go as much as saying, if you need to fart. If you need to burp, you know, just let the body do its stuff, because otherwise you're training yourself, your mind, to think the body doesn't matter. And I think I grew up like that. The body's just this machine that is just there, but didn't mean anything. It's just recently I realized actually it means a lot. Like, if you feel about, think maybe you are a car driver, you got a car, if you stop putting oil into the engine, what will happen to your engine? The car will break down. It's as simple as that. So first of all, pay attention to your body signals, okay? And as Amy's done, it's like, for her, it's the colors that speak to her. And you might think, I don't have time for this. We all have time for that. It's just integrating in a routine. So it could be whenever I've got in the morning breakfast, my cup of coffee or tea, I will sit down and do a quick body scan. That's on top. When I feel I'm on alert, I'm like, go, overwhelm, pause, look around. And the other thing is we can soothe somebody spoke about the vagus nerve. We can soothe, this is what we have. We can soothe this vagus nerve, the tone. We can do this right now. If you want to stand up, and if you look at animals that do it all the time, you can start shaking. How often do you shake? We did the stretch out. Caroline did it straight away, but how often do you shake? You can shake your hands. You can shake your arms. I feel goosebumps as soon as I do that. So do that, shake, shake, shake. You can shake yourself, right? You have the saying, shake things off. This is what it means, shaking. The other thing you can do is the brushing. So people who do Qigong will know that. This is very easy to do and feel how it feels to, so you can do that. So you're reconnecting with your body, you're soothing yourself. We don't have to wait for that massage once a year at a spa. We can actually do this self-touch. We can hold ourselves when we feel really, really low. We can give ourselves a big hug. That's quite easy to do, isn't it? And you are soothing yourself straight away. So as you will see, you've got a lot of techniques on tap that you can use, and they don't take that much time. Dancing, standing, we're sitting too much. If you see me right now, I've started standing. So I'm doing all my work standing from now. My back pain is much better, funnily enough. So how many years is just like seeing one of my clients standing. It's like, hey, I'm going to try that. So a lot of changes you can do to make your body feel better straight away. So showing your body it matters. Have you got an uncomfortable chair? Get yourself a new chair if you can. Go for a walk. These things are so easy. So I have had a colleague, I see her, she gets all the phone calls, she's got her earphones on, and she's walking and talking. So now, as I'm standing, I'll show you, I'm standing like on one of these yoga mats, and it's really like squishy. It's very comfortable because then I can play with it. I can move my toes on it, and like, it's soft. So the other way to really reinforce that body-mind connection is using your senses. So touch. You might have next to you an object, like now I've got this new silicone things on my pen. And as I'm touching this, I'm really paying attention. And people who've done mindfulness will know, as I'm doing this touching, my mind doesn't carry on doing his bits. That stops the mind going just by me paying attention to the present moment. So there's a little more technique. Some people will have cold showers to soothe the vagus nerve, or hot showers, you know, like you do some things that will change your current state. So that's one of the tricks. Singing, humming, that will also soothe your vagus nerve. And that's easy to do, isn't it? Anything like that. And movement, dancing. I love drum and bass. I know it's crazy music, but I've been to a gig and I'm still with it and I'm still dancing and I've got so much energy and my mind has been uplifted just like that. So remember the stuff that makes you feel good. Often we forget. When was the last time you did something that really makes you energized? The best bit about the vagus nerve is the ventral vagal, which means it's the social aspect. Speaking to someone, connection, make a phone call to a friend, obviously a happy friend, not somebody who's going to drain your energy. Connection. So because we're so much on our own these days with virtual working, remember the connection is the bit that's going to uplift you. Smiling. So you can post the smile. You must have seen this laughter yoga thing where people are doing that. This is like crazy to see, but it works. So for me, it's so magical. We have all this readily accessible. So you can do body mind therapies as well. So you can have more. So instead of just doing mind therapy where you're talking therapy, you can at the same time do more body mind therapies. So some people do hypnotherapies, body movement. So you've got Qigong, yoga is very famous one. So try to do both. So it's like, don't just deal with your mind, do with your body at the same time. So then you really reimbalance all that. So I think we're running out of time. So if people have questions, please.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, if you wanted to have sort of final words on the mind-body connection today, Carole, and then we'll have a chance for anyone to ask questions or to just continue discussing the topic itself and give their input, because we've got 10 minutes left.
Hi. I don't know.
Hi, Lucia.
Hello.
Hi, Lucia.
Hi. So thank you so much. I actually stumbled across this session by accident earlier, and I'm really glad I did. So thank you. Mine's not a question, but it's more where I'm at. I actually work in the health industry in retail, and something you said earlier really resonated, and that was the mindset. I think we were talking about people sort of looking the positive outlook. I meet a lot of people that are, living with chronic illness, constant pain, bereavement, emotional trauma, and there is a clear divide between those that say, I want to do something about this, and I want to get better, or I want to feel better, I want to wake up feeling good about life. And then we've got a number of people, there are less of them, a number of people that are resulting to wanting to get a magic pill that's going to fix everything. And I must say, I'm probably, depending on what day it is, I sit on one side of the fence or the other for my own personal well-being. So I very much like the fact that this has reminded me that a positive outlook and a positive mindset is so essential, and I do struggle to connect. I'm not a social person, but it is important to actually get other people's views on things and actually just have that, whether you agree or not, it's a bit of healthy debate or just a good conversation. So thank you.
Thank you, Lucia. And as you're saying that about the social aspect, if you're not sociable, you might like pets, and pets striking a pet is so soothing.
It is. A huge animal lover. I'm a cat person, making my way to 30 plus cats, which would be lovely. But and I get a lot of, for me, my own personal well-being is helped hugely by nature, and it's a recent discovery, probably since lockdowns, discovering nature, and actually that's my happy place at the moment. But and I think it's really important for people to find that thing. I've got colleagues and friends that love being in the gym or love running. Gosh, that terrifies me, the thought of that. But everyone's got a happy place, and sometimes I think it's really difficult to see that when you're in a bad place, it's hard to find your way back to your happy place. But that's
I think what's key as well is that we do not use things like the gym as a distraction. So we have to remember to really stay with the uncomfortable. What is uncomfortable chest pain I have here? What is that telling me? Because I've met people who try to just drink alcohol to forget about the pain because they don't want it there.
Yeah.
But it's not going away. So some people, and actually the gym, some people will overuse their body and ignore the body signal till they get an injury. So you have to, as you say, find the right balance, what works, and not overdo it, and do it for the right reasons as well. It's not trying to avoid something, but it's really the reason I'm doing the gym and things is to feel good about myself, not to avoid facing whatever is happening within me.
Absolutely. And I must add there, the majority of people that we work with in the retail industry are people wanting to improve and wanting to get themselves to optimal health and beyond. So that is a huge driver for the industry in general, and for us personally, I suppose, as individuals, is to always be, pushing, but not pushing, beyond your capabilities, or to the point where you stress yourself out or wear your body down, or whatnot. So thank you.
And yeah, and most likely than not, most of the time we are the one putting these pressures on ourselves. We're not good enough, we need to do more. We're in this society where it's always do, and we forget to be. So, and I think that's the beauty of the body, is making us just be and ground ourselves and be in the present moment. I think this is key. That's the body mind, is when you see your mind is just going in like crazy mode, do, or what about the future, or what about the past, or just grounding ourselves. So this film called Earthing, having as well, was like yeah, like we're wearing shoes, and they're saying we stop using the energy from the earth. I don't know if you think it's woo-woo stuff or not. I've started walking bare feet in my garden. Whatever, if I can help. That helps my senses. I feel a prickly sensation, and yeah. So I think that just bores me. Yeah, I think you have to find the thing that makes you want to do it. Like the dance, for me, it's easy. I just put a funky tune on my radio and I dance for 3 minutes. That doesn't take long to make me feel better. Yeah, Amy?
Sorry, I just quickly wanted to say, have you heard of central sensitization?
Nope.
Okay, I was diagnosed with central sensitization 6 years ago. Basically, my central nervous system's malfunctioning. It's been on fight and flight for too long. And so now it's sending out pain signals when there's nothing structurally wrong. It came on after a trauma. And it's sort of like my body's just had enough traumas. And that it's widespread chronic pain. And obviously then that's mixed with body memories and the mental health over kind of years with PTSD, and then it's like back and forth, but mind and body. So although it's similar to the fibromyalgia, it's also very different. So any stress can cause a huge pain flare anywhere in my body, and I can't regulate my emotions, my temperature, because of this nervous system malfunctioning. And it's, you know, work very, very hard to kind of try and get it normal again. And they say it's not. And I've found 3 people in the world who've recovered so far. You know, and
yeah, and the power of the mind is, if you believe you can recover, that's half of the battle. It's the hope factor. It's crazy, but the power of the mind is so valuable there.
Yeah, pain, you know, they painkillers don't work because it's my central nervous system. It's not structural, and they've tried all that. So
yeah, so Amy, if you haven't heard of the film, I've just shared the PDF. I don't know if people can see in the chat, but there's the film called This Might Hurt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the documentary, and that's really, really useful. The other one was Rage. I can't remember the exact title, but it's all about that.
Okay.
And yeah, I think we need to be patient. Like, I've had this chronic pain for a long time, and it's going. And you know what? It's crazy that, I don't know if you have this connection with pain, but we pay attention so much to the pain. We even check if it's still there. And reinforcing ourselves, reinforcing this pain. It's crazy to realize we are doing it to ourselves. It's not actually in the body. The pain is in the mind. So for me, that was mind-blowing, understanding that. So whenever I'm like, oh, you start having this connection with the pain, you're like, actually, do something else and try not to go there. Because you're reinforcing this neural pathway of checking with the pain.
So, you know, I go for a walk or something, but it's like my head will go blank. I don't know what emotion is in my head, and it will just go into my body, you know. And then, you know, I go for a walk or I have a nice bath and I'll do what I can, but I don't know what's in there.
So Amy, it sounds like you will be the ideal client for doing some body oriented coaching, because you can do some intervention like focusing and then really allowing. If you said there's trauma, you might go and see a body oriented therapist rather than a coach. But there's things like EMDR, which I'm not really. It's with the eye movement. I don't know if you've tried that.
Yeah.
And it can feel like defeatist, like I will never ship this.
I will. I'm gonna
exactly.
gonna try.
Yeah, but that's the only way. Of otherwise, you give up and your body will just shut down, and then you're in bedridden all your life. I've had constant pain, and so it's not ignoring the pain, but it's not paying attention. It's just, I'm still going to go for that walk even if my back is hurting. And also, if you realize the pain, sometimes if you start having a new pain, the other pain goes. You're like, how is that possible? I've got my shoulders hurting now, but my back is not hurting anymore. So it shows that it's not a constant. It's temporary. So it's quite intriguing, isn't it? Pain. So I think we will need. Can you resend the document? I cannot open it. Okay, I'll try. And then otherwise, Bronwyn is going to send it to all of you.
Yeah, I'll share the resource pack this afternoon on email. So anyone that signed up on the Eventbrite, you'll receive that later today. But it's been a really interesting discussion, and I think, Carole, we probably do need to plan a part 2 because there's so much to pack in. But it is just gone 1 o'clock, so I'm going to wrap this up.
Before we stop, I'd like people to pause and remember what their intention was at the beginning of the session, and just check in with them, checking what that was and how they're feeling right now. But yes, please. So this micro pause we're doing right now, you can do it anytime. This is something that you need to remember when you're on that treadmill doing. Just pause. It's a split second and check in with your body, and you're back to present moment. I've got goosebumps again.
All right, thank you so much, Carole, and thank you everyone for attending. I hope you found that useful. As I said, we'll be in touch this afternoon with that PDF and details about part 2 when Carole and I have planned that properly. We'll share the details with anyone that attended today. But I hope everyone took something away. I definitely did. And feels that the mind-body connection is a little bit more, you have a better understanding of it and how to connect the two.
Yeah, we will send the recording. Yes.
Yeah, we'll share that as well. All right, thank you. I'm going to stop recording.